is impacting you and your family. This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Cincinnati. I'm Craig McKee. First today, the police chief of Covington, Bryan, he just announced he's going to retire September 1st. Chief Carter has been with the Covington force for 27 years. In 1990, he was sworn in and started as a patrol officer working third shift. He was named chief in 2015. In between, he's also worked with the department as a vice officer, SWAT hostage negotiator, and a shift commander. Chief Carter, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So you've been there since 1990. 27 years, that's a long time. I mean, this is a force that you have grown and developed as a police officer, and now you are over all of these officers. How has policing changed in the time that you've been there, nearly 3 decades?
Many ways. It's kind of a loaded question. When I first came on, there were a lot of Vietnam veterans, and it was just a kind of a different style of policing. And now we are out in the community a lot more. We've gone, the crime is kind of cyclical. So when I came on, crack cocaine had just come onto the street.
Right.
And it was a violent time through the 90s. But then over the last 10 to 15 years, crime has steadily decreased.
And we speak about, of course, the drug and how cyclical everything really is. Heroin obviously is a major issue.
Yes.
The heroin epidemic and opioid issue. And Covington is facing it just the same as everyone else in the tri-state right now. What is the biggest concern with this cycle, let's say, of drug use? Well,
there isn't necessarily the violence, or there hasn't been the violence associated with the heroin epidemic, but there seems to be a lot more death as far as the users go. When I pulled into the lot just a few minutes ago, there was a call for someone that overdosed and was not breathing. So, and officers going to those types of calls over and over, it has an effect. It has an effect on the officer. So that's concerning. It's just a little bit different than the crack cocaine epidemic.
And officers now, when they go to search individuals or they pull a car over, just touching some of the product that's out on the street now could put officers in harm's way, and we've seen some cases where officers have been sent to the ER.
Correct. Our officers, we have equipment that helps protect us. It's not a fail-safe, but the officers just have slowed down a lot. They will talk to the person that they're searching, trying to get information before they start going into their pockets.
In recent weeks, we've actually seen a spike, a number of shootings, and some of the shootings taking place night after night on the same block. I guess the simple question, what's going on in Covington right now with crime and the shootings that we have been seeing?
That's the million-dollar question, I guess. If I knew that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I can speculate. Right. Like I said before, crime is kind of cyclical. The only thing that I'm concerned about is it seems like in some larger cities in the Midwest, there is a spike in violent crime, and I'm worried about that coming to Covington. It seems like younger people, there seems to be a lack of respect for human life almost with what I would consider execution-style killings, and that worries me the most.
What's the challenge? Obviously, as Cincinnati, they try to push crime out of certain neighborhoods, or Blue Ash, or you name any city. When they push crime out of their neighborhood, it has to go somewhere. So what is Covington doing? What are your officers doing on a daily basis to try to push crime out of Covington and keep it from possibly coming from other directions?
Our officers, when a violent crime does occur, obviously we have more of a presence, especially in the area of where the last 2 murders took place. What we've seen is the most sustainable for crime control is economic development. When there are more people in certain places, it seems like the area is safer. So that's kind of what we work with the city in trying to increase economic development.
Looking forward, what are the challenges for policing, do you believe, in our communities?
The biggest challenge we face, and I know other departments are facing the same challenge, is recruiting. We are having a very, very difficult time recruiting officers, and I think a little bit has to do with the low unemployment rate right now. Policing obviously requires shift work, holiday work, weekend work, and that's it's very stressful on an officer and an officer's family. So I think if the option is there to find employment elsewhere with normal working hours, they choose that. So the people that are showing up to take our test has declined. When I took it in 1990, there were 400 people that showed up, right. And now we're lucky to get 100 people, and out of that 100 we might get 50 people.
Do you think some of the high-profile officer-involved shooting cases that we've seen in this past decade have an impact as well on people saying, maybe I don't want to apply and go down that route?
Absolutely. I know that for a fact because my son was considering a career in law enforcement, and over the last 18 months he has decided to not go into the field.
Well, I know that we spoke before we started taping here. You were 14 years old and your neighbor was a police officer, and that is actually how, just in speaking with him, that's how you decided this is the route I want to take.
Yes, yes, and I know it's kind of it's strange, but you know, I saw him going to work night after night, and it was very intriguing talking to him, and that's the reason I chose the field.
Very nice. All right. Well, Chief Carter, I certainly appreciate your service to the community for 27 years. You're a native of Kentucky, and you've spent basically your entire life in northern Kentucky, so thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Again, August 31st will be his last day. September 1st, he'll be a civilian.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sir.